Have you ever wondered what happens when a classic, like a really beloved classic like The Lion King, gets a, well, radical visual makeover?
Mm.
Or, when a movie's just so familiar, can it still surprise you, maybe even challenge you? Or perhaps because it loses something in trying to be too real?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Welcome, everyone, to The Deep Dive. This is the show where we take source material, articles, research, maybe even your own notes, and we dig deep to find the most important bits, the real insights.
Our goal is pretty simple. Give you a shortcut to being genuinely clued in, with hopefully some surprising facts and just enough humor to keep things interesting.
And today we are definitely embarking on a deep dive. Our subject, Jon Favreau's 2019 film, The Lion King.
Yep. And our mission today is to really unpack its, let's face it, groundbreaking visual style. We need to explore the debates it kicked off, fidelity versus originality.
Well, yeah, that whole shot-for-shot thing.
Exactly. We'll analyze its undeniable power at the box office because, wow. And ultimately, think about its lasting impact, maybe, on where filmmaking is headed.
So, can a film be this huge technical marvel, a box office giant, but still, lose its soul for some people?
That's what we're exploring. Get ready to revisit the Pride Lands, but maybe through a completely new lens this time.
Okay, let's get into it. The grand return to the Pride Lands. It really kicked off officially September 28th, 2016. That's when Disney confirmed plans for a remake of the '94 classic.
Right, and this wasn't exactly out of the blue, was it?
Not at all. It was very much part of Disney's, highly successful strategy at the time, taking their animated jewels and reimagining it.
Like Cinderella, Maleficent.
Exactly. And maybe the big one, the most relevant, was Jon Favreau's own The Jungle Book from 2016.
Yeah, that film got a lot of praise for its visuals, didn't it? Really immersive.
Totally. And then Beauty and the Beast in 2017 just cemented that trend.
Mm-hmm.
So the stage was set for The Lion King, but this felt like it was pushing things even further.
It really did. And for something that ambitious, you need the right team. Jeff Nathanson got the screenplay gig on October 13th, 2016. He did Catch Me If You Can, right?
Yeah, some others. But the director, it almost had to be Favreau, didn't it?
You'd think so. Fresh off The Jungle Book, he'd already proven he could handle this kind of photorealistic animation. He understood the tech.
And how to get performances from actors voicing, digital animals.
Exactly. It felt like a natural progression, like he was building on what he'd already achieved.
In Favreau's vision, it wasn't just, let's remake it with better graphics. He specifically said his inspiration was the spectacle of a BBC wildlife documentary.
Think about that. Not making a cartoon look real, but making a story look like a nature show.
Hyper-realistic animals, environments, everything looking incredibly authentic.
But, and this is really key, it wasn't just about that stark realism. He also drew inspiration from the Broadway show.
Oh, really? How so?
Particularly for developing characters like Nala and Sarabi, giving them a bit more depth, more agency.
So, trying to add some new layers while keeping the core story intact? That's a tricky balance.
A real tightrope walk, yeah. Between being faithful and offering something, subtly new.
No, the whole live-action label.
Mm-hmm.
That caused some confusion because it's mostly animation.
It is. And Favreau himself clarified it. He said it used virtual cinematography tech, like simulating live action, but fundamentally it was photorealistic CG animation.
The same kind of virtual reality tools from Jungle Book, but dialed up.
To an even greater degree, yeah. Girish Balakrishnan, the visual production supervisor, talked about using VR and AR tech extensively.
And MPC, moving picture company, they worked with other firms.
Right, Magnapus, Unity Technologies. And here's the kicker. They built the film's entire tech platform using the Unity game engine.
Wow, a game engine. So they could walk around the digital sets?
Pretty much, like virtual cinematography in a fully interactive digital world. It really blurred the lines between making a film and, developing a game, a fundamental shift.
And here's where that ambition really hits you. Get this. The only shot in the whole movie that isn't animated is the sunrise in the opening scene.
No way, just the sunrise.
That's it. Everything else, all 1,490 other shots, rendered by animators and CG artists. It wasn't digital animals in real places. It was an entirely digital world designed to look real.
That single fact just tells you everything about the technical scale, doesn't it? The achievement.
It really does. And it makes you wonder, is it still live action if it's all CG?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it something new?
A hybrid genre, maybe. And they didn't just animate everything by hand either. To get that realism in the animal behavior.
Oh, they used AI.
Yeah, artificial intelligence. To let the virtual animals behave more like real animals, naturally.
So it wasn't just about looking real, but acting real, too. More complex, organic movement.
Exactly. It creates this virtual ecosystem that feels surprisingly alive. But it also raises questions, right? Where does the artist stop and the algorithm begin?
A glimpse into the future of animation, maybe. Sharing control with AI.
It definitely underscores that commitment to hyperrealism. So you've got this incredible tech backbone, this living digital world. Who do you get to voice these animals?
The cast. Definitely star-studded. Which speaks volumes about Disney's pull and just how much people love the original story.
No kidding. The announcement started making waves, mid-February 2017?
Yep. First big one was Donald Glover as adult Simba. Huge talent.
Absolutely. But then the monumental news, James Earl Jones returning as Mufasa.
Oh, goosebumps. His voice is Mufasa. Getting him back, just instantly connected to the original, gave it that weight.
Total continuity anchor. Then, April 2017, the comedy duo. Billy Eichner as Kimon, Seth Rogen as Pumbaa.
Perfect casting, you could already hear it.
Right. July brought John Oliver as Zazu. August, the amazing Alfred Woodard as Sarabi and John Kani's as Rafiki.
A really solid core pride building there.
Then the big official announcement, November 1st, 2017, and this brought the global superstar power.
Beyonce Knowles Carter as adult, that was massive. Favreau's top choice, apparently.
Yeah, they were reportedly willing to work around her schedule. Her involvement definitely hinted Nala's role might be bigger this time.
And Chiwetel Ejiofor as Scar, promising a different take on the villain.
Definitely. And the hyenas got new voices, too. Florence Kasumba as Shenzi, Eric Andre as Azizi, Keegan-Michael Key as Kamari. Different dynamic there.
Plus J.D. McCrae as young Simba, and Shahadi Wright-Joseph, who was Nala on Broadway, right? As young Nala.
Yeah, great touch. And Amy Sedaris in a new role hinted at some small story tweaks, maybe.
Favreau also mentioned the significance of the predominantly black cast, didn't he? Bringing more authenticity to the African setting.
He did, which felt like a timely and important update. Now, thinking about what the actors brought, Donald Glover said Favreau wanted to focus more on Simba's journey, right?
Yeah, that transition from boy to man, especially after trauma. Trying to add more emotional weight, psychological realism maybe.
Exploring the impact of Mufasa's death, the burden Simba carried. More than just a visual retread.
And speaking of weight, or maybe the opposite, the comedic relief. Timon and Pumbaa, Rogen and Eichner.
Ah, yes. A definite highlight for so many people. Favreau apparently encouraged a lot of improv.
You can almost hear it, can't you? They sound like they're just riffing off each other. Eichner described Timon as small physically, but with a huge personality.
He also mentioned his gay sensibility influencing the portrayal, which is interesting how personality got injected into these realistic forms.
And it was the first time someone other than Ernie Sabella voiced Pumbaa in a big Lion King thing, right?
Yeah, that was a notable change. Allowed Rogen and Eichner to really make it their own. And honestly, many felt they stole the show because of that personality.
Chiwetel Ejiofor Scar, though. Very different from Jeremy Irons.
Oh, completely. Ejiofor described him as more psychologically possessed, brutalized, pointing to Scar's ego, his resentment, as the driving force.
More complex, maybe darker, less theatrical villainy, more internal damage.
That seems to be the idea. Favreau praised him for bringing a Shakespearean villain quality, leveraging that dramatic background.
And James Earl Jones. His return was just iconic.
Yeah.
Favreau said it was about carrying the legacy.
And he noted how Jones's voice had naturally changed, deepened a bit with age.
Which served the role well. Made him sound like a king who'd ruled a long, long time.
Exactly. Added this layer of gravitas, of ancient wisdom.
Beyonce's Nala, too, got a bigger role, according to Favreau.
Right. He mentioned she was drawn to it partly because she had young kids, connecting with the family themes.
So Nala became more active in the story, more instrumental in getting Simba back.
Seems like it. More agency, less just the love interest.
And the hyenas. Yeah, quite a shift there, too. Favreau felt they had to change a lot for the realistic style.
From funny sidekicks to genuinely dangerous predators, as Florence Kasumba put it.
That's a big tonal shift. More credible threat, maybe, but losing some of that original humor.
It's a trade-off, definitely. Sacrificing some lightness for a grittier feel. So you have the cast, the tech. How did they handle the music and the story itself, especially with fans knowing every beat?
Yeah, the soundtrack. That was its own whole saga, wasn't it? Sparked excitement, but also quite a bit of debate later on.
For sure. Hans Zimmer came back for the score, which was huge, collaborating with Pharrell Williams this time.
And Elton John and Tim Rice returned to rework their classic songs. That felt like a commitment to the original's musical heart.
Definitely signaled respect for the source material, but Beyoncé's musical role was really significant, wasn't it? More than just voice acting.
Oh, way more. She helped Elton John rework parts of the soundtrack, adding her own musicality.
Yeah.
And she co-wrote and performed that new song, Spirit.
Which became a big single. And she curated that whole companion album, too, The Lion King, The Gift.
Right, featuring Spirit and other inspired tracks with African and American artists. A massive creative investment from her.
So the film had all the original hits, Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Yep. Plus, covers of The Lion Sleeps Tonight and He Lives in You, which fans would know from their Broadway show, or Rhythm of the Pride Lands.
And Elton and Tim Rice wrote a new end credit song, Never Too Late.
But there was that planned collaboration between Beyoncé and Elton for another new song that didn't quite happen.
Right, didn't make the final soundtrack. Maybe a little hint of the complexities involved in blending those creative forces.
And then, the bombshell from Elton John himself.
Yeah, that was pretty stark. October 2019, he publicly said the new version was a huge disappointment to him. Said they messed the music up.
Wow. The magic and joy were lost. That's rough coming from the original composer.
It really is. He felt the emotional impact, the spirit of the music just wasn't there in the same way, which really makes you question if that push for realism somehow dampened the musical's emotional core.
So music was contentious. What about the story? Was it really shot for shot?
The shot-for-shot debate, that became huge, especially after the trailers dropped.
Because they look so similar to the original iconic scenes, right? Side-by-side comparisons were everywhere.
Exactly. It fueled this perception that it was just a visual copy-paste job.
But Favreau tried to get ahead of that before release, didn't he?
He did. He acknowledged some shots were too iconic to change, but insisted it wasn't just the same movie over again.
He emphasized it was longer, like 30 minutes longer.
Yeah, about 118 minutes versus the original's 88. He said the goal was more dimension visually, story-wise, emotionally. Mentioned altering humor, character stuff, even changing the elephant graveyard.
So he promised subtle expansions, more depth.
He did, but when the film came out, the criticism from many fans and critics was exactly that. Nearly identical, lacked originality.
So the promise didn't quite land for everyone. It still felt too familiar.
That seems to be the prevailing feeling for many. It highlights that tension between intent, marketing, and how the audience actually experiences it. Did the photorealism make the similarities too obvious, paradoxically?
And that whole originality debate fed right into the critical reception, which was, well, you said it earlier, mixed.
Definitely mixed. Rotten Tomatoes landed at 52% approval, average score 6 out of 10. The consensus lacks the energy and heart that made the original so beloved. Ouch.
Metacritic gave it 55 out of 100 mixed or average reviews.
But here's the fascinating part. It's the highest grossing film ever with a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which says a lot about brand power versus critical opinion, maybe familiarity and spectacle winning out.
It certainly raises that question for studios. Does critical acclaim matter as much as audience turnout for these huge IP films?
So you had this clear split. Some critics praising the visual achievements, calling it polished entertainment, technical genius. Kenneth Turan, Sarparna Sengupta, they were clearly impressed by the spectacle.
Undeniably, the sheer look of it was a triumph for many.
But the main criticism, lack of originality, sure, but also the impact of the photorealism on the characters' expressions, on the emotion.
That was key. William Bibiani said it drains the life from the original, that the realistic animals lacked the facial expressions needed. If they look too real, they can't emote like cartoon characters can.
A.A. Dowd's review was particularly harsh, wasn't it? Joyless, artless, maybe soulless.
Yeah, famously comparing it to watching National Geographic while hearing the original movie in another room. That image really stuck.
Suggesting the realism created this weird disconnect, muted the feelings. David Ehrlich called it a soulless chimera, creatively bankrupt.
Really strong language attacking the whole philosophy behind it, questioning if something vital was lost in translation to realism.
But amidst all that, almost everyone agreed on one thing.
Timon and Pumbaa.
Exactly. Eichner and Rogen got widespread praise. Their banter was seen as the comedic heart, one of the few fresh elements.
Even A.A. Dowd conceded they were the perfect remake recipe. Maybe because meerkats and warthogs are naturally more expressive, or just their comedic timing cut through.
Could be. They definitely injected personality, broke through that uncanny valley feeling some other characters maybe had. But despite this critical divide, the box office.
Wow. Just phenomenal, undeniable. Remember, this was one of the most expensive films ever. Budget around $260 million. Huge stakes.
But it paid off big time. Over $1.657 billion worldwide.
Its global debut was $446 million, ninth largest ever at the time, biggest for an animated film initially. It hit $1 billion globally by July 30th, 2019. Super fast.
And held that title of highest-grossing animated film for years until Inside Out 2, even though Disney called it live action.
Right, that classification debate again. It highlights how these photorial films challenge old categories.
It also became the highest-grossing musical film ever, highest-grossing remake ever, second highest film of 2019 behind Avengers, Endgame, seventh highest of all time back then.
And the estimated profit. Around $580 million. Just massive financial success, proving audiences wanted this regardless of reviews.
Domestically, too, the hype was real beforehand. Second best pre-seller of 2019 on Fandango. Best first day for a family film on Atom Tickets.
And that translated to a huge opening weekend. $191.8 million, a record for July, beat Harry Potter, beat Beauty and the Beast for a Disney reimagining. Biggest opening for Favreau.
It kept going, too. Became only the second animated film after Incredibles 2 to cross $500 million domestically.
And internationally. Just as dominant. They launched it in China a week early, got a good start there.
Ultimately grossed over $1.1 billion internationally. First animated musical film to do that overseas.
Highest grossing film ever in the Netherlands, South Africa. Highest of 2019 in tons of European countries. Russia, Spain, highest grossing animated film in India.
Just incredible reach, which really does make you think about what defines success, right? When the money pours in like that, despite critics being divided.
Absolutely. And it did get accolades, mostly for the technical side, reflecting that split reception.
Nominated for Best Animated Feature and Original Song at the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice. Spirit got Grammy nominations. Visual effects nods at BAFTA and the Oscars.
So the industry recognized the how, even if critics debated the what or the why.
And it won some too. Satellite Award for Best Animated or Mixed Media Feature, Golden Eagle in Russia. And crucially, lots of Visual Effects Society awards for overall VFX, the Pride Land environment, the virtual cinematography.
Really cementing its status as a technical landmark, plus that Guinness World Record for highest grossing remake.
And there's that dedication to the editor, Mark Levolsi, who passed away during production. A poignant reminder.
So its legacy for Disney remakes. It definitely solidified the strategy, didn't it? Proved the financial viability of photorealism for these classics.
Yeah, despite the debates about heart or soul, it showed audiences would turn up in huge numbers for the spectacle and familiarity. Became a blueprint, maybe a cautionary tale too.
The question going forward is, will they keep pushing the realism or try to find a different balance, recapture some of that magic Elton John felt was missing?
And the story isn't over for this franchise, is it? The circle continues.
Not at all. A follow-up was announced September 2020, and the director choice was surprising in a good way.
Barry Jenkins, Oscar winner for Moonlight, known for really nuanced human stories.
Exactly. Which immediately suggested this next film might have a very different tone, maybe more emotional depth, addressing some of those earlier criticisms, perhaps.
And it's not just a prequel, right? It's more complex.
Yeah, it evolved. It's serving as both a prequel and a sequel, focusing on Mufasa's origins, but also events after the 2019 film. And they've explicitly said it's not a remake of Simba's Pride.
So, genuine expansion of the story, exploring new ground.
Casting started August 2021. Aaron Pierre as young Mufasa, Kelvin Harrison Jr. as young Scar, fresh voices for the origin story.
But bringing back some familiar ones, too?
Yep, Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, John Kanani are all confirmed back as Pumbaa, Timon, and Rafiki. Nice continuity there.
And the title was confirmed at D23 in 2022. Mufasa, The Lion King. Leaves no doubt about the focus.
And it's set for release December 20, 2024. So another journey back, hopefully technically impressive and emotionally resonant.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today. We've gone through the incredible tech, the star power, the music debates, that whole shot-for-shot argument, and the undeniable, massive box office success of The Lion King 2019.
It really was a film that pushed visual boundaries like never before. It split critics right down the middle on what makes a movie work, but audiences. They showed up globally. It absolutely reinforced Disney's remake strategy.
And it leaves us with these fascinating tensions, doesn't it? Technology versus storytelling. Realism versus expression.
When photorealism is the main goal, what gets potentially sacrificed? Emotional freedom, originality, that spark.
So for you listening, what does this all mean? When a story you know so well gets this ultra-realistic treatment, does it add to the magic? Or does something intangible get lost?
Does that massive box office success mean more than the mixed reviews? Or is there a different kind of value, maybe an artistic soul, that we should look for beyond just the numbers?
Definitely some things to chew on. Keep those questions in mind. What really stood out to you from our discussion today? What new questions does this raise about where movies, remakes, and maybe even animation itself are heading?